Bonsoir, mes potes. Hello and welcome to Intoxicated Masculinity. If it's Wednesday, we have a cocktaility coming at you. And we're going to go back to our friend Philip Green today for another French cocktail. In this case, it is going to be My Old Pal. The history on this cocktail is not particularly important. It's just a variation on the Boulevardier, but I thought it would be kind of interesting because I think it's kind of an interesting variation on the Boulevardier. It is the same concept, same ratios and all that. We're just going to change out a couple of the ingredients and see what we think. Again, not a whole lot of history on this one. Again, we're kind of going back to the 1920s Paris, which was probably certainly an interesting place to be. And we're going to try one of their cocktails. So without further ado, that's French. Right. Okay, we're back and we have our three ingredients. Again, as I said, this is a takeoff on the Boulevardier, so it's going to be very similar. We're going to start off with our Campari, which is going to be very similar to our Boulevardier, identical in fact. And we are going to go for 1 ounce. So next, we are going to go vermouth, but in this case, we're going to be going dry vermouth, whereas the Boulevardier is going to be sweet vermouth. Once again, 1 ounce. And finally, we are going to stick with whiskey, but instead of doing bourbon, we are going to switch over to rye. I'm using a High West double rye. This is a barrel pick from a local store, or barrel picks. I think they actually use. Oh, this is an Oloroso sherry finished double rye. And just with the regular Boulevardier, we are going to add 1 ounce of our whiskey. So again, as you can see, this is a very similar cocktail to the Boulevardier. We're using whiskey, we're using Campari. We're just going to change up, use a different kind of whiskey, and use dry vermouth instead of sweet. So now we need to get some ice in our mixer and mix this thing up. So let's go ahead and get some ice into our mixing glass. And give this a good stir. And as usual with your mixed drinks, just put a finger on the bottom of your mixing glass here and see if that's chilled down to the level that you want it to be. One thing that's going to be an immediate difference here from the Boulevardier is this is going to be a lot lighter color, because in the Boulevardier we're just using a sweet vermouth, which is going to add even more color along with Campari and the whiskey. So let's go ahead and double strain that into a chilled rocks glass. One other difference with this cocktail versus the Boulevardier, we typically use a cherry, and this one is going to be asking for a orange. Actually, first of all, we are going to toss in 1 large cube of ice. There we go. And we'll get our orange twist. Express that over the glass. Turn around. Drop it on in, and you have yourself My Old Pal. Let's give it a try. That is it's interesting to have two cocktails like this in the Boulevardier where they're virtually the same cocktail. This has an entirely different flavor profile. The dry vermouth is changing up the flavor profile a lot. The dry vermouth is mixing with the Campari and giving us a flavor that is kind of hard to nail down. I want to say it's almost kind of smoky. This is overall a lighter cocktail than the Boulevardier. The Boulevardier, I think, is probably a little bit more robust in its flavors. It might be the sweetness of the sweet vermouth. I'm not quite sure what. I'm not getting a ton of spice through on the rye. This isn't like a super spicy rye, but Actually, no, that's not entirely true. The spice is coming through a little bit. It's actually a pretty well balanced cocktail. The flavor profile, though, is quite a bit different than a Boulevardier. Again, there's something interesting that's happening between the Campari and the dry vermouth that is coming out with a flavor that, again, is almost kind of smoky, and it's different. If you're expecting a Boulevardier, this is not going to taste exactly like that. It doesn't mean you won't like it, but it is going to be a little bit different. And it does go to show you how changing up just a one ingredient or two ingredients just a little bit can alter the entire flavor profile of a cocktail. Overall, I'm happy with that. I think that's kind of an interesting and kind of different cocktail. And on that bombshell, I want to thank everybody for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good drink, and have a good day.
Peru.